All right, Devils, back with you here. We're sitting here at, what is it, Thursday, November 1st. We're kind of middle of the day. Again, on Thursdays, we look at traditional assets. So upon polling all of our members, next up by request is a look at the euro yen. That's some tricky, if you're trying to approach it with an Elliott perspective, it's tricky trading here. This count is getting complex on the right edge. Now, we'll just a quick review, as I just like to remind you, when you're looking at foreign exchange, at the very least, you got to go out to a daily. You just got to get some perspective on where we are. So it's not unreasonable that coming off of the 2012 lows, we've had this motive. Well, we'd have an impulse, but we've got a nice 5-wave sequence. So we've got 5 up, 3 down. Pretty straightforward and hard to miss when we're out looking at the daily. So there's a reasonable possibility that we've got a 1-2, and then this would that would imply that this might just be the one wave of a much larger move. It's certainly possible, I suppose, but let's see if we can get a completed motive wave here. Right now, this is struggling to try and maintain its impulsive structure. Here's our wave 1 high. It's been tested a couple of times and held. So the idea would be if these are going to hold and we're going to maintain this structure here. Now you can see I've got the upsloping, this very, very clear upsloping trend line. If that's going to hold, then here's our target. Then you got to ask yourself, well, if that's completing 5 after this move, well, what's next? Well, before we start projecting new all-time highs, again, if we're going to do that, the next area we'd be looking, if that's going to complete, you'd want to wait, and then this would be your next buy zone here. If this completes that 5, we come down here, that's where you'd be looking for the next opportunity to try and get into that. So the assumption be you'd come down here in 3, maybe revisit that, and then we go up again. So that's getting ahead of ourselves. So right now, let's see if we can finish this and get this to complete as a 5th. Now it has been kind of tricky if we take it down to the smaller time frame. So let's do that. So let's go down. Let's see if I can get it in a 3-hour. All right. So when you first look at this, so the first thing that makes it problematic is you've got a lot of mixed messages here. So if you just try and step back, so let me take this off since we've already established that these are tests of that low. When you first look at it, if you just at the first glance you're looking for 5s and 3s. So we see lots of 3s, 3, 3, 3. As you can see it again here, I didn't even mark this one, but it seems like all of the corrections are all of the 3s are going higher. So let me get this here so we're consistent. Let's get that down. Bear with me a sec. Okay, so 3, 3, 3. This, it looks like, well, I mean, the broader shape is a 3, right? But there's probably a 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like extension in the 5th. So I look at this it looks like I've got an A, B, C. So it's hard to count that any other way. So that would suggest that perhaps that's a W that's going in. Here's the ABC into an X wave. Now that is shallow for an X wave relative to this distance, but as I recall, it is technical. So if we come here, well, we're kind of in between. Here's point of control. So we have a lot of market acceptance here. We don't quite make even the 618. So it's a little shallow for an X wave. You'd like to see that much higher, pushing up even up to 90%. I don't know how else to count this. So we come down here. It looks to me like I may have an expanded B wave here yet again. Now, I don't like to rely on that to make a count fit, but this very clear ABC, and this is, look at here, swing low to swing high. All right, so you see how, if I get that right on there. Get it on there. There we go. So you see how technical that is, right? So just classic algo. Here's the 50. There's their target. So we've got this nice ABC. So it looks to me like I've got 5 coming down here to give me the A wave. The ABC here. Now we don't go beyond 1272, the length of the A. So I've got a qualifier here for an expanded B wave. All right, so this nice ABC. So it appears to me that we may have this, that after the X wave, that we've got an A expanded B wave. We'd be coming down here maybe to revisit this trend line for the C to finish that. So that would give us our X and then to an A, B, C. Now it's not textbook, right? Big problem being the shallowness of the X wave here. And then I looked at, well, let's try thinking, well, maybe this is the X wave. Maybe we've just got A, B, C here. But the count doesn't play as well because of these threes, these back-to-back threes followed by the 5 down. So I'm more inclined to put the X wave here. Right? I don't have the symmetry of a triangle, thinking A, B, C, D, E. It doesn't play as well because of where the 3s and the 5s are. So in just trying to keep it as simple as possible. Now, of course, we could easily disqualify. If we're going to hold and start to get traction here, we're going to go up and challenge those highs. Well, then either this C is complete and we'd have a very bizarre shaped move here, because as we dig into this is very difficult to get a read on. That would be, so you'd end up with this, like this kind of a thing, and then that hardly works because we don't have the symmetry that we'd want here. But something like that, can't say I love it. If I pull that back out, can I get some perspective on that? Well, you can't ignore that trend line. So these are fairly well established. Question is now what's next here. So if we pull from this high to this low, we're going to get this will be a tell as to what kind of response we get here. So if we're going to come up here and stay technical with this as we have been and get the sell, so you can see here we got this little low volume node here as we approach the 618 and come down to that target, that would look a little bit better. But if this is going to be a C, we're trying to dig 5 out of that, which, boy, it's an ugly move down. It's been hard to get a read on it. So let's go down. Oh, let's see if I can get it in a 1 hour. All right, so what's your count there? That's anybody's guess. I mean, yeah, we can make an educated guess, but just first looking at it, just looking for where the depth of the retracements are, this looks like maybe you've got something here. So we're to and through target. This has been fairly technical on the way down. Some of these, and we've looked at this before, where we had this series of algo plays, and I won't take you through all of that again, as we've covered it not more than a week or two ago. So here's a pivot. So maybe you pull it in this way, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, then now that suggests that you're done. Let's get that with submicro. So if that's right, and we're finished down here, well, then we got to reconcile that with the larger count. I mean, maybe. So if we're done, right, we're going to have a very, then you got to really question the WXY of the whole thing. Does that make sense? This is a tough looking one wave here. Again, is it helping you here? Can I get I guess I can get a third out of that. It's not very pretty. So you want to simplify. Well, we could try and simplify and just say, okay, I've got pretty well established channel coming down here. Can we get through this channel? Now let's pull back out here. So let's go back to maybe a 3 hour and see, would that make sense? Could I get the 4 here? It'd be very, very unusual to have it finish that way. If we're done. So you might look for any sort of swing relationship between this 5 projected from this. Do we get, well, we don't even make the 100 there. So ideally you'd want to see that come down here, and this would be, all right, test these lows, maybe even beyond that. Here's the 1272, right? So this pivot here, that's our wave 1 high. So even to come down here and challenge that, this would be a very unusual formation if this is WXY. And of course, I'm sure I have 12 comments from my Elliott purists telling me that the count that the way it should be. I'm never here to tell you that my count is the count. I'm just trying to organize the chaos. Is there a count that I can get here that's helpful to me? So so one thought is, if it's that unclear, we just let the market, no need to force a trade. Let the market give you some more tells as to where we are here. If this is done, which I'm a little bit suspect of because of, right, there is no random pivot. Well, I can see here, there's maybe we've got something here. So prior support, offering support again, maybe. I'm just trying to find what's there. Usually if you've got a significant pivot, if you can't find anything technical, it really just means you haven't found it yet. So these swings it's very choppy. You're in some sort of complex correction here. So, again, pulling back out, let's go maybe 4 hours. Can I see it? Nope, can't. I got to go back to let's try 12. Some sort of triangle is shaping up here in this 4. Pull this off here. A, B, C, D, it's not pretty no matter how you slice it. So it's characteristic of a fourth in that we have all of this complexity. Now what this ultimately ends up being once we get resolution as to which way we go here, if we're going to break out this way or we're going to break down this way, then we can get resolution here. Right now this kind of triangulation is much more consistent with what you'd find in a 4. So the bias would be the path of least resistance likely is to come up here and finish this. But with so much uncertainty and the oddity of that pattern, I personally would wait for more information, because my guess is here we're going to come back to that Vegas wave and then come back and test this lower trend line here, maybe a challenge of the 1. So again, right? So I don't want to force a trade or lead you into a trade. If I don't see something that I would trade, and I'm pretty aggressive on what I'll take, I don't want to just tee up a trade here just for the sake of it. So my suggestion would be to wait for more clarity. Let's confirm that this is a solid pivot, because if it is, then maybe have to recount that. If to my members, if you want to take a swing at that, it's not an easy one. Right, it's full of some problems. So again, my bias is let's sit tight. Let's get some more data to see what the next move is. So if I was just waiting to get a tell, so what happens on the next retracement? Get that right there. So what happens when we challenge that 50? Are we ripping right through it? That would be a tell. So if we do that, so here's the advantage you're waiting for. If we do get through that, then we know that the 4 is done. We come down, then there's the 50. Now we're going up for the 5, potentially. So I might wait to see what kind of reaction we get here. So even that, still something, if we can break that 65, we know we'll get an algo teed up to carry us on the next 50. So if we get up here, and we may well stay in this triangulation. If we get something like that, then we're right back into our hotspot where we know we can be a buyer with an algo on board. All right, so that's what I would wait for. Let's get some clarity on this pivot. I'm suspect of that pivot. Once we do, if we get a push up here, break the 65 from this swing, well, of course, remember, we'll have the pivot. So if I go swing high to swing low, now we've broken this by just a few ticks. Well, you're on a 12-hour here. We have broken that, but note here, a little break here. I'm not ready to abandon the idea that that's our B wave there. But if we're going to come up and stay in this triangulation pattern, I would look for more confirmation that this is a solid pivot before I was ready to be a buyer there of any significance. I'd wait for that reaction there, and the next time to be a buyer, I would say, would be on that next 50 when we get an algo behind us, or we can get behind them, I should say it that way. So we've got this target up here. I think that still is very viable based on this pattern here. So as long as so you might use this trend line here as a break. Right? If we come out of this, and if we're going to break down and we get on the other side of this trend line that's fairly well contained the entire move, that might have you rethinking it. Then if we're going to challenge the 1, break the 1, then maybe this is all just an ABC and this is some cluster here. That seems much less likely. Much less likely. This looks most probable to resolve to the upside, to challenge that high. So that's what I see, guys. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but sometimes the idea is if you just can't see a trade, there's no shortage of things to trade. So if it's not there and you don't like it and you don't have what you're looking for, confusion can often just be the market's way of telling you it's time to stay out. Look for something where you've got more clarity, right? No trade is a decision, and that's not an unreasonable one to make given what we're seeing here. All right, guys, I've got to be back. I've got one more. Back to you in a minute.